What is up, YouTubers and lovers of budget cars and bikes? And in this case, maybe not quite budget, I don't imagine, for many of us. I guess it all depends on what your budget is. But it is very special. As you can tell from the title, this is the Throumph Bonneville T120 Black. Although it's not black, so I'm not quite sure what the black denotes. I imagine you just get a few extras. I should have looked into that, really, I guess, before I even bought the bike. But I bought it because it's not black, if that makes sense. I mean, I love this colour scheme. They normally come in a kind of gloss black, and I think they do it in a flat black, but they also do it in this incredible kind of a flat or a satin grey with black accents, I should say. And I think it's the best colour combo. I just think every angle on this bike looks absolutely stunning. I picked this bike up in November 2019, and we're in almost the end of April now, 2020. So basically, I've had it and sat it in my back garden for, what, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, however long it's been, and I've just been slowly getting on with doing some bits and bobs on it, because as you'll see, there's a couple of things on here which aren't stock, of course, which I spent a fair amount of money on, to be honest, and I just think it's enhanced the look. We'll talk about that in a second, but I just wanted to give you a quick overall look around of the bike. As I said, it's a 2017 Throumph T120 Black Bonneville, of course, in this incredible kind of satin grey. Let's talk about the things I do like. First of all, the riding. It is just sublimely comfortable, this bike. You know, there's never going to be a time where you think to yourself, oh, my wrists are aching, my neck's aching, my back's aching, my bum's aching. I've ridden this for, 150 miles and just sat on it, and I didn't feel any different when I got off it than when I got on it, which is bizarre because I did have problems with the BMW GS 1200, didn't I? So, it just goes to show. And this will burble along all day. This will sit at 65, 70 miles an hour at under 3,000 revs. It's like a Harley Davidson in that respect, but obviously a lot more class because it's British. Apologies to all my American followers if there are any, but obviously this is a British classic bike, and it has that kind of kudos attached to it in that respect. And as I said, it'll sit at motorway speeds under 3,000 revs, and it'll do it all day. In 6 gear. These do come with cruise control as an option. This one doesn't have that, but we'll talk about the electronic package in a minute. And as I said, I can sit on this all day, and it just makes you feel so special because, one, it's British, 2, it's iconic because it's a Bonneville, 3, it's got that incredible 1200 Bonneville engine, and it's got more power than you're going to need. It's not horsepower mad. I think it's only about 90 horsepower, but a huge amount of torque. I mean, I've struggled to get into top gear on this, to be honest. Most of the time I'm cruising around in 3rd and 4th because that's at like 1,500, 2,000 revs. It's just so much fun in that respect. What else? Let's have a little look at this dash as well, because I do love this dash layout, this real kind of retro look to everything, with this brushed aluminium here with the little Throumph logo. You switch it on. I do apologise about the sun. It's incredibly sunny today, guys, and I'm trying to do my best here for you. As I said, it's got a fair amount of electronic packages. If we go through, you can actually turn a lot of this off. You can turn the traction control off. It's done 2,895 miles. Yes, less than 2,900 miles from new. There are also 2 rider modes. There's rain and there's road. And there's obviously ABS. So you get the ABS, you get the traction control, you get the rider modes, you get the info button up there, obviously, which is quite useful. What else? You can change things on the fly as well with just that little button there. You don't have to go into sub-menus to change the rider modes. As I said, there's only 2 of them. And they don't make a huge amount of difference, if I'm honest. I do personally find the accelerator, the throttle, a little bit twitchy, a little bit light. You've only got to feather-like touch it, and it kind of jolts you back a little bit. I imagine putting that into rain would cure that. I've not tested it out. Maybe I will a little bit later on. This one also comes with the heated grips as well. Very bloody useful. What else does it come with naturally? That's pretty much it, I guess, really. I mean, it's got this beautiful daytime running light, rather, which you can see just there. Lovely little smiley face, which reminds me I must clean that bloody headlight at some point. Now, what have I done to this bike since November? Well, the first thing, which will be pretty bloody obvious, I would imagine, is the tail tidy. I bought that tail tidy from Tech Bike Parts. It cost me about 75 quid but I did it on one of those eBay special deals where they give you 20% off site-wide, which they do like once a year. I'd had it in my watch list for a very long time, and I just thought, right, okay, well, let's just pull the trigger on that and get it done. And I got it for about 63 quid, I think, which I think is a bloody bargain. You don't get the indicators, and it was a bit of a faff getting the backlight to work because I didn't read the instruction manual properly, and I couldn't get a brake light. And apparently you have to put the blue to red and red to blue, which is a bit counterintuitive, but you know, it works now, which is fine. The other thing with this setup from Tech Bike Parts is it doesn't have a number plate illumination light underneath there, which obviously when you go for your MOT is going to be awkward. You could get those little LED bulb bolts, as it were. But what I've done is, because I couldn't get the brake light to work, so they sent me out another one, assuming it was faulty. Now I've got two of these lenses, so what I've done is I've actually cut a little slit in the bottom of one of the spare one, and I'll put that on for the MOT, which isn't actually due. Its first MOT isn't due until October, and as I said, we're in April now. So whether I've still got the bike by then, well, who knows? You know me, guys. I don't kind of keep bikes for too long, do I? But as I said, I've cut a little hole in that. If you want to see the modification I did to this light and any other things that I'm up to, I've got a new Instagram channel. I thought I'd better tell you about that now, where I put photographs of what I'm up to, you know, forthcoming projects, bikes or cars that I'm going to review. You'll get a kind of a sneak peek at that. It's hashtag budget bucket list cars and bikes. I think there's a link if you look at the big banner picture of the Triumph Speed Triple on the site. Oh, let's turn that off. If you look at the banner picture above on the main picture, you'll see the Instagram link there. So just pop into there and you can have a look at all sorts of things that are going on, past van projects, the way I modified that light, stuff I did to the GSX 1400 as well, which if you haven't seen that video, is well worth a look as well, because that's a beautiful bike. Anyway, so that's the Instagram thing, before I forget. Now, as I said, I put the tail tidy on. I did have these clear indicators in a box sat at home. I put them on, and you're supposed to be able to go through the menu button on there with these Triumphs and change it so you don't get the hyper flash. It wouldn't work with this for some reason. I went through all four of them, didn't work, and all I did was I just spent £4.95 for two resistors from R&G off eBay, popped them underneath the seat there. Absolutely perfect. Now, no problem at all. Everything works as it should. I do have a smaller number plate as well, but I put that on today because I've still got to tax it. I hadn't taxed it because it's been sawn over the winter, but I thought, as I'm just going to pop out and do this video for you guys, I better put the full size number plate on there. I also spent a bloody fortune on these Remus cans, which hopefully I won't forget to start it up and let you have a listen to in a minute. If I do forget, then just check the Instagram, because there's a sound check on there of these pipes. They are supposed to be, I think, 550 quid from Remus, brand new, but there was a guy on the forum selling them for 350 quid, so I snapped his hand off and basically put them in storage for about 4 months, and then fitted them last week, and they sound bloody awesome. In fact, while I remember, let's just start this up, because I so often forget. You're going to have to bear with me, guys, because I've got to pull the clutch in, all right? Hold on a second. Right, there she goes with these Remus pipes. I don't actually have a stock sound check for these pipes, the pea shooters, but there's plenty of them out there if you want to do, you know, an exhaust sound check on this bike. These are the ones I think are the best. I don't particularly like the Vance and Hines. There's a few others out there, but I did a sound check myself before I bought these pipes, and I decided these ones were the best, because I like the way they splay up. They're slightly shorter than the pea shooters, and they sound bloody awesome. Even makes the number plate shake. Let's give these a little blip. Yes, rather fruity, as I say, and I'm sure you'll bloody agree. 350 quid, a lot for a pair of slip-ons, because it literally is from there to there, and you bolt it on. So it's a lot of money, 170 odd quid just for each can. But they're on there and they look nice, and I think it's enhanced it, and I think it will add value ultimately. The previous owner put these crash bars on there, but I think he must have bumped into something at some point, because he's tried to touch that in. It's no big deal, is it? The other thing I did was put these bar end mirrors on. I do like these. I bought them in square originally, but then I realised that because it's quite a retro bike, I figured round ones would look better, and I like this kind of brushed aluminium with the black affair here, and they're quite small but very, very, very good, and they weren't expensive, 25 quid I think off eBay. And then I put these aftermarket adjustable levers on, because it had those kind of aluminium levers that you get, the big fat ones with a massive knob at the end, and I didn't like that, and I figured because this is the T120 black, we should put that on there, and I did, and it was a piece of cake, and they worked lovely. There's the front indicators as well. Now, the reason I did the indicators, they're not ideal, I'll give you that. I might even change them to something a little bit more, I don't know, posh, because these were just sat in a box from a previous project, and you can't really leave the original ones on because they're these great big bell end bloody black with orange lens mirrors, and it wouldn't have looked right, quite frankly. Before anybody mentions it, I am going to get some insulation tape and cover that up so you don't see the yellow, because it's pretty bloody obvious, isn't it? But I think for the time being, that kind of looks quite nice, and I think with the 7x5 plate on there, that's going to look pretty wicked. And every angle on this bike looks pretty bloody wicked. I think you're going to have to agree, even if you're not a Triumph Bonneville kind of fanboy, which I am. I think you'll agree this just looks really, really nice. Part of me thinks about taking these engine and exhaust guards off because they kind of stick out a little bit like so, but part of me thinks, well, look, let's be safe, let's be, sensible about this. Sounds like another Bonneville going past there, actually. Probably a Harley. Talking of which, as I said, I think the way this rides is equatable, if that's even a word, to a Harley Davidson. It'll just sit back at under 3,000 revs and burble along all day long, but I think I've already mentioned that anyway, and you've heard the way it sounds, so you get a kind of rough idea on that. So back to the mods, that's pretty much all I've done. Not a huge amount. The bar end mirrors, the levers, the tail tidy, the exhausts. I don't think it needs anything else, because out of the box it just looks pretty bloody special, doesn't it? The only thing that I don't like. Now let's talk about that. If there is a thing I don't like, and it's not aesthetics, it's not the look of the bike, well, maybe, I don't particularly like the tyres, if I'm honest. I think they look pretty crappy. I think they come like that from Triumph when they sell these bikes on. I don't particularly like that. I just don't like the design. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Mechanically, the only thing I don't like is the brakes. These little 4-pot calipers here, huge disc, twin discs obviously, but this is a 1200cc bike, by the way, and it's got these pissy little calipers on there, and you do have to grab a great big handful of brake. You've really got to be intuitive about, where you're going to brake, as in, if you're going down a road like that, you've got to think a lot further ahead where you're going to brake and how you're going to stop, as in how long it's going to take you to stop, because these brakes aren't great, back or front, and then that's a real shame, because that kind of lets it down a little bit. But I guess if those brakes were sublime, then the bike would just be 100% perfect, wouldn't it? And no bike is. But that's my only real gripe, is the brakes. I'm sure you could probably get some stainless steel braided hoses on there and kind of sharpen that up. And if I was to keep the bike, I might look into that. But at the moment, I'm just undecided, because you know me, guys, I probably won't keep it because I get bored quite quickly. Now, price-wise, now these, I've seen this same year, same miles, this week up in a dealer with Vance and Hines exhaust and bar end mirrors, couple of pretty much the same extras, same miles, same year. They want £8.5 grand. I paid £6,800 for this rather privately in November, because the guy had a crappy picture and he'd been trying to sell it for a very long time, so I finally managed to get him down to £6,800. And he also included this kind of rear parcel rail thing here and this hideous king and queen seat, which I promptly sold on for 300 quid on eBay or Facebook, I think it was, maybe. So I got 300 quid back from that. So the bike owed me at that point 6,500. I then promptly went on to spend 500 quid on the tail tidy and the exhaust and the mirrors and etc, etc. So it owes me 7 grand. So I think 7 grand is what I would want back from it, just to have the experience of having a Triumph Bonneville, because I've never had one. I've tried the sports bikes, I've tried the naked bikes, I've tried the sports tourers, I even tried a GS 1200 for touring, but I'd never tried this kind of retro look bike, and it's the most expensive bike I've ever owned. And I really, really like it. I could ride this bike all day and I love the looks it gets, because it's something different. It's retro. I love the brown seat with the grey and the black. I think that really, really, really sets it off. Even the these kind of front fork socks here, these rubber things. I think it just all ties together so nicely. Especially now I've got the bar end mirrors, a tail tidy, the Remus cans. I think it just all ties in really, really well. One other thing that I'll mention, which kind of annoys me a bit, is the exhaust. They tend to get kind of marked up all the time. Now it is just, you can wipe it off. I mean, when you let those go cold, if you just get a little bit WD-40 on a rag and wipe them off, they look new again, but it's a constant thing. And when I took off these, because it comes with these reflectors, these yellow reflectors for Euro 4 or 5, So I whipped them off, and while I was there, I kind of kneeled rather against the exhaust, and it left that bloody great mark, which is annoying. Now the good thing is, exhausts for this bike are super cheap. You can buy pea shooter exhausts, the original ones, off here. Somebody's not hanging about. You can buy the original stock exhausts for, I kid you not, under 100 quid. So if it really bothered me, I could probably get the downpipes for, I don't know, 50 quid, or I could wrap them. But at the moment, it's not annoying me enough. I mean, this bike is immaculate. You know, even the spark plug cover there is just like new. Everything about this bike. There are a couple of little grubby bits because I did cover it in ACF 50 for the winter, and I've got most of it off. But obviously there's always a bit of residual here and there, but as you can see, it is a stunner. And I think even if you didn't particularly like these kind of bikes, I think you'd have to agree it's a special machine. Centre stand as well, which is always nice. That was helpful for storing it in the winter, and it'll be helpful for doing oil changes and stuff. Now, talking of servicing, that's a bit of a pisser because the guy actually took out extended servicing with Throumph at Plymouth, and the next service, which is the 3,000 mile service, was supposed to be free. He sold the bike to me. I contacted Throumph and they said, I'm sorry, the service was only for that guy. And I said, well, hold on, I bought the bike from him, I own it, surely the servicing is on the bike. And I even got hold of head office, and they wouldn't have it. They just basically said, no, we can refund the original owner for the service, but we won't give it to you for free. Throumph, seriously, what the hell is that about? I mean, that's, you got to do better, you know. What's the point in refunding the original owner for the cost of the service? Why couldn't you just give it to me? And I'll tell you why that pisses me off, because it's 240 quid. And it's only a 3,000 mile service. It's not like they've got to check the valves and all that kind of stuff. They're going to basically check the fluids, they're going to do an oil change, check the brakes, and that's about it. That's all they'll do, and they want 250 quid. Now, for me to keep the service history as a Throumph full service history, I've got to pay 250 quid for a job I can do for 30 quid myself. Bloody annoying, Throumph. Sort it out. Anyway, that's my only rant about the bike, quite frankly. Anyway, I hope this has been of some kind of assistance to you if you're looking to get one of these bikes. If you've got one and you've got any comments, obviously stick it in the comments section. I mean, when it comes to the modifications, do you think I did the right thing? Would you have gone another way? Do you think it looks better with the big old bloody fender that comes down here? Do you prefer the pea shooter exhausts? Do you like the bar end mirrors? Would you have kept the original levers? Anything you think I did that you wouldn't, or anything you think maybe I should do? I mean, if you've got something that you've done on yours and you think, you know, it would be good for me to do on this, please let me know. I'd be really, really interested to hear it. I mean, I think personally I've done just about the right modifications on this. But again, let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed, then consider doing that. And give the video a thumbs up if you would. I try to get a video out every 3 or 4 weeks, more like 3 weeks now, just to keep things moving in that respect. I hope you enjoyed the GSX 1400 video as well, because I really did love that bike, but that's now gone because I couldn't keep two. I had too much money tied up in it. So I decided to sell the GSX, and I've still got this, and it's April, so look out for another video. You guys probably won't see this now until August, I wouldn't think, and who knows where I might be by then, because I've been seriously looking at other bikes, although at the moment I am seriously enjoying this bike, and I've got no reason. If I sell this, it'll be purely for content for the channel and because I get a little bit bored. That'd be the only reason, but at the moment I've got no plans to sell it. I think it's stunning, awesome, on every level. This bike is just doing it for me, much like the Monster did, the Ducati Monster, which I'll stick a link on in the top right somewhere for you to have a look at that as well, because I was quite enthusiastic about that, if you remember. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm going to go off and have another little half an hour ride about. Then I've got to go and walk the dog. And as I said, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that. And look out for another video in probably 3 weeks' time. All right, guys, thanks for watching.